Welcome to Crick, son of Yawgmoth. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got three swamp. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. I like this. We've got an artifact, we have Hedron Archive, we have a board wipe, and we're playing against Baby Padeem. Don't even know a word yet. Little 8-pound, 5-ounce baby Padeem. So, should be actually, let's just make baby Padeem regular Padeem. There we go. We don't want her getting really mad at us. So, sounds like she would probably be pretty mad if we just kept calling her baby PDM for the rest of the game. So we're not going to do that. Let's go and lead off with Swamp, and then anything else. We're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Crick, son of Yawgmoth. A lifelink for each black mana in cost. You may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana, then put a +1 counter on Crick, son of Yawgmoth. Playing as Padeem, Council of Innovation. Artifacts you control have Hexproof. Then, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the artifact with the highest converted mana cost or tied for the highest converted mana cost, draw a card. Opponent did go for a Weathered Wayfarer's Bauble activation. So, sorry. Sorry, my commentary is a little bit all over the place. When there's a lot of stuff going on while I'm trying to read commanders and they're going for activations, I'm trying to subconsciously kind of keep track of what's happening. And so it's very much my brain's trying to do 2 things at one time. So let's go and go for Sign in Blood. We're going to go for 2 card draw and lose 2 life. Go ahead and get the life loss party started because it's a fun way to go for that. And that will actually make us discard down to hand size. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll see what we run into. We do have at least 5 swamps. 2 on the battlefield, 3 in our hands. So if we need to discard one of these swamps, we certainly can. But there we go. Go for Sign in Blood. And since we are playing against blue, they're running to Ancient Craving, which I love it. So yeah, let's do that. We're just going to go and dump a swamp, and then that way we can hold on to Homeward Path and really get this started. So let's go ahead and make the land drop. Let's get to our end step, and then I'll cover the rest of the stuff that I normally do. Let's go and dump this swamp, and then we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So I did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to build your very own Suicide Black deck, hey, head on over to MTGOTraders. I got all the card draw and the promise of power that you may need. This is going to be you playing Crick. As soon as you buy your cards, you're going to be unstoppable. Your friends and family will be worried, but hey, that's going to be you, and you're going to be having some fun. So anyway, check out MTGOTraders, and also check out my merch booth. I have a merch booth set up over at inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT for 10% off anything off the website, or just type in JOLT for everything 9 in the search bar to see my actual merch booth. So there you go. Now, our opponent did go for Padeem. We've got Swamp. I kind of like going for Toxic Deluge on this one. We want to keep Padeem off the battlefield. We want to get that commander tax going. We really want to stop any sort of card draw that our opponent might be going for. So X is going to be 4. We built this deck to pay some life, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go for Toxic for 4. Main thing is we just want to reset that commander tax on Padeem. That'll be pretty good. So anything else, kick it back over to our opponent. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits and help support this awesome content, this Commander 19 content. And yeah. Oh, and if you can't support the Patreon, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate that, whether it's somebody at your local gaming store or online. Whatever it is, spread the word of the channel, and I would appreciate that. So now it's officially free time. We can have some fun. Our opponent's going to go for Temple Bell activations, which, yes, please sign me up. I love extra card draw. It's going to be good. So as far as what we want to do, we can go land, we can go Crick, pay 6 life. We just don't really have a lot of good... Well, we do have Promise of Power that we can go for next turn, and that's going to be a lot of life. Let's do this. Let's just kind of get set up on mana at this point. One of the things with Crick is, or at least I'm always tempted to just get Crick down and just immediately start paying my life total. And so, but you can also play this deck in a manner into where you just kind of very slowly build up a lot of mana and then kind of roll out a lot of your threats. So you don't always have to pay life total. The way this deck is set up is I do have a lot of different kind of combo decks out there that I've played in the past. There's Villas, there's Razaketh, which is Villas is a ton of fun, and then also Villas. And so there's just different. Ooh, Deserted Temple. Okay, do we probably want to rip coffers off of that? I think that'd be good because we've got a fun, like, it feels like we've got 2 big ships about to collide in the ocean right now between our opponent's card draw and us being able to generate a ton of mana. So I kind of like going for this. So let's go for Vampiric Tutor. See if this draws out a counterspell. All right, it does not. So let's go and grab that coffers. There we go. Coffers is going to go on top. Let's go and make the land drop for the turn with Coffers. That'll at least add 4 mana to our mana pool and allow us to go for Ancient Craving. So I think we might end up doing that. So let's go Coffers. And then Promise of Power is going to be sorcery speed, but yeah, like I mentioned, I still like doing this. So it's going to be 4. Or we could just pay full sticker price for Crick and not have to worry about anything else. Yeah, let's give that a shot. But let's go for Crick. You know, if our opponent wants to counter something, that's perfectly fine. We're not paying any life on this, so that way we can use a lot of our life total to kind of cast some of these mana symbols. And if they've got a counter spell, they've got it, then we can just kind of deploy with Promise of Power and Ancient Craving, and basically just pay 8 life and draw 8 cards. Which is, that's some good stuff right there. All right, so our opponent, nothing from our opponent on that, no responses, and then we're going to go and pass the turn over there. But yeah, you know, if you've seen my channel before, or maybe you come to my channel via searching for Crick, and if that's the correct way to say it, I hope it is. If it's wrong, I do apologize. But I've got Villas, which is kind of more of combo mono black. I did build a Razaketh deck one time. This is kind of combo aristocrats. And so basically with Crick, I just mono black, it kind of feels like mono green sometimes. You know, it does need a little bit of setting up in that you need coffers and different things like that, but you can generate a ton of mana playing mono black. So that's kind of what we're going for with this deck. We've got a lot of the big mono black stuff that I normally don't play with because stuff like Promise of Power, when you're playing Gonti, you have triple mana costs. I mean, there's just sometimes where there's so many black mana symbols in a converted mana costs, it's a little hard to run in a deck when you're trying to do certain things, or maybe you have a lot of utility lands. Like, as you can tell, we got Phyrexian Tower, we've Deserted Temple. So, but thankfully with Crick, that allows us to kind of reduce some of that mana cost and pay some life, which is pretty cool. So probably going to lead off with Deserted Temple because that's really going to allow us a pretty good chunk of mana, and probably going to be pretty aggressive on this one. Our opponent has Archive out there, which is really going to allow them to go for some card draw if they get Padeem down. We're really not that worried about Darksteel Juggernaut. It doesn't have Trample. It will start to swing in every single turn. So at some point, we need to at least get a body on the battlefield. But with Promise of Power, let's say that we tap out, we go for Deserted Temple, we go for on tap with coffers, and we go for a XX demon, because right now we're looking at probably about a demon that's going to be a 6/6, so at least be able to kind of hold Darksteel Juggernaut at bay. At least that's what we're hoping for. Okay, there we go. So our opponent kind of pause for a second. So let's go and lead off with Deserted Temple. So as if that commentary was weird for a second, that was why. So we're going to go 1/2 off of Hedron Archive. That's going to give us 4 mana. Let's go for Deserted Temple to untap coffers. We're going to pay 1 mana on that. We can untap coffers and then tap down for a little. I think we get ahead on mana. One of the harder things, I know we're getting ahead on mana, but I never want it to be like, oh, we just basically just traded mana. So, but I think we got ahead on 1 on that. So, yeah, let's go for Ancient Craving, because we're going to pay that, and we'll use that last 3 colorless floating. It's going to allow us to draw a few extra cards, and once we get a few extra +1 counters on Crick, I'm going to start feeling just a little bit better. We are playing against mono blue, so we don't have to worry about anything like that. Ooh, Dread Presence. And then Doom Blade. So that's definitely going to... We want to go for this Doom Blade. So we're going to target Metal Worker. We're going to use 1 colorless floating to get rid of that Metal Worker. That's going to give us 1 more counter on Crick. We could have done this during our opponent's turn, but Metal Workers are going to be able to generate a ton of mana, so that's why we're basically doing it right now. And do we want to go for, I think, Promise of Power? I think we can jam that next turn. We could pay a lot of life, but I really like getting this Dread Presence down. I think that'll be pretty good. So let's do it like this. So let's go ahead and pay 2 of that life total. That's going to be 1/2. And that'll still allow us to go for Mind Stone, get that down, just to get a little bit of extra mana. So let's get the additional +1 counter onto Crick. Let's have a Dread Presence into the battlefield, and let's go for Mind Stone. There we go. Have that Mind Stone enter, then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Now, we are looking at a 5/5 Darksteel Juggernaut swinging across, so we are looking at taking 5. That does put us down to 8, which is not super thrilled about that. We do have Dead Presence if we want to kind of throw that in front as a blocker. The thing about wanting to hold on to Dead Presence is that at least whenever a swamp enters the battlefield, we're going to 2 damage to any target and we gain 2 life. So I really want to hold on to Dread Presence. So if that means we have to take a hit from 6 and then try to figure out some sort of way to stabilize, and we don't have to be super aggressive in paying our life total with Crick. We've gotten to the point now where we've got most of our mana established to where we can probably churn out a really nice Promise of Power, and then get a demon on the battlefield to kind of at least hold that Darksteel Juggernaut at bay. Like, even if we do get a ton of card draw in our hand with Promise of Power, they keep making more artifacts, so they keep getting a bigger and bigger Darksteel Juggernaut. So that's one of the downsides. Pariah's Shield. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to a quick creature instead. Okay. All right. So do we have Toxic Deluge in the graveyard, which is kind of going to be our only way that we can deal with this oh my god, I can't believe we're we're getting we're getting challenged by this Darksteel Juggernaut. We definitely need to find an answer for this, because that indestructible is not going to be good. Yeah, so we almost need to find one item, because we can find one item, then we go Toxic Deluge, then we have to build up a little bit more. Man, I'm almost tempted just to block with Crick, because that 8 is going to be very, very devastating for us. We do need a sacrifice element, but I don't know if we have it in here. Yeah, let's go and block with Crick. I mean, we're at the point now to where we're going to be able to keep making these lead drops, and at this point, Dread Presence is probably going to be worth more to us at this point, being able to gain that life, than Darksteel, and then holding on to Crick. So we're going to send Crick back to the command zone, and that doesn't... Oh, and then we have lifelink too. Oh, that is nice. Yeah, so we get some good life on that. That puts us back up to 18, so we can make some stuff. Ooh. Okay, now we do run into Wretch Confluence, which is going to give target creature -2/-2. Now, if we can get rid of some artifacts, that would work, but we really don't have a way to deal with any artifacts. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and lead off with a Swamp. Yeah, I think we're okay. So we can go lead off with Swamp. That's going to give us a little bit of extra coffers. We're going to deal 2 damage to any target. So that's going to be 2 damage, and that's going to make them 28. Let's go for coffers. That's going to be 1, 2. Okay, so we're going to go for Promise of Power Entwine. So we're going to draw 5 cards, lose 5 life, and then create an XX Black Demon creature token. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, an 11, 11. That is definitely going to buy us some time. And then Herald of Anguish, we can't get that down just yet, but with Herald of Anguish, if we actually get enough artifacts on the battlefield, that will allow us to kind of get out from underneath this Darksteel Juggernaut. So let's go Chromatic Lantern. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Who would have thought we would have been excited just to get an 11/11 demon on the battlefield to hold off a Darksteel Juggernaut? But that's what makes Magic fun. So anything else, we're just simply going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we do have to discard down to hand size. We do have to get rid of 3 cards. I think at this point, since we've got well, Phyrexian Tower is nice, Homeward Path is nice. We can actually start hardcasting a lot of these threats, and we really want to attack our opponent's hand if they're going to be drawing cards. So let's dump Swamp, and we need to get rid of 1 more. I like Homeward Path. Since we have a good chunk of mana, I think we can get rid of Phyrexian Tower. I feel like it's going to be that crucial in this matchup. And it is nice to have a sack outlet, but I think we can make this work. So okay, as far as next turn goes, we are at least going to be able to kind of hold off on Darksteel Juggernaut, stop that Juggernaut from swinging across. It reminds me of whenever I got into Magic, I built like a Juggernaut tribal deck, and with Pandemonium and Mirrorworks, and I don't know. Every time I see a Juggernaut like that, it just makes me really happy. Now, we did run into Imperial Seal, so that's going to definitely turn us online next turn for whatever sort of threat we're going to try to get down on our opponent. So if we survive until next turn, I know our opponent's tapping out for a pretty good chunk of mana with that extra planar lens. And, ooh, one thing that we do want to keep in mind is... Okay, so they're going to go Beacon of Tomorrows, take an extra turn after this one, then shuffle it into the library. So that's going to give them 4 extra mana, which that's not the end of the world. The only downside is that does put our demon at 11/11, and I think that, ooh, oh no, engulfed, engulfed the shore. Oh no, that's going to get it. Okay, that's going to send everybody back. I don't think there's anything we can do. No, that still keeps the demon on the battlefield. Excuse me, that's just going to be Dread Presence. Okay, because, yeah, they've only got 5 Allens. Okay, we can survive that. So let's go ahead and block Demon on Juggernaut. And it just, like, imagine the Godzilla-style movie effects of this, like, what could be an 11/11 demon fighting this 8/8 Juggernaut. I don't know, it makes me happy. So they've only got 3 cards in the hand. So this is going to be their extra turn, so we can still hold them at bay with this 11/11 demon. On Mirrored and Besieged, they did actually choose... I think they chose, yeah, Mirren. So that's basically just going to be an artifact token. So, and we haven't really seen them cast any artifacts to get that extra token on the... Oh, now we do see it now. So, they do go for Helm of Awakening. That's going to give us a reduced cost. So, yeah, we'll still see exactly what we want to grab with Imperial Seal. We do have Torment of Hellfire. We do have couple different X spells in here that definitely allow us to tap out for a really good chunk of mana. So if the worst that was basically going to happen is the fact that they're going... now the Darksteel Juggernaut has surpassed our demon. It's a 14/14 now. So we'll need to start getting some bodies on the battlefield. And the idea of going for some sort of -X ability between Wretch Confluence and Herald of Anguish is pretty much just not going to happen. So I think at this point, if we're going to win the game, we need to close the game out with either Exsanguinate or Torment of Hellfire. And we could set that up for next turn. But wait, that's just going to be a 14/14. That's still going to wreck us with the Hedron Archive and Mind Stone. Okay. Alright, so it's going to bounce everything back. It's going to get rid of the demon. I don't think these mirrors have haste. If they shift the Lightning Greaves over onto one of the mirrors, which if they miss that, alright, they're going to swing it for 14. That's going to give us, hey, at this point in the game, we're going to look for any sort of win that we can go for. But even, here's the downside. With an Imperial Seal, that's going to be 2 life on top. And that's not going to do much. So they could have shifted Lightning Greaves over onto mirror and swung in. That would have gotten them the win. But let's see what else. If they're going for an extra turn spell, they're going to go for a Padeem. Okay. And that's going to leave 3 mana left over. But even then, this is not looking so hot. So let's see what else they've got. They're going to go Reshape for 3. Okay. But yeah, and as far as this Crick deck, this deck is not as cutthroat as what your traditional Crick deck can be, where you're trying to combo off and different things like this. This is definitely more of kind of like a mono black stompy deck. You can see we have fun stuff like Myojin of Night's Reach. We want to go for Promise of Power. We want to go for Herald of Anguish because we're running a lot of artifacts. So this is definitely more of kind of like a Timmy style deck to Crick. So in scenarios like this where we're going to hit with Engulf the Shore, Cyclonic Rift, and an extra turn, we're probably not going to be able to do anything about that because our deck just doesn't win on the spot like some of these builds can. It's a little bit more of a fun-focused deck, but you can see where we held our own against Padeem. Kind of got some good stuff done. So we go Dread Presence, Imperial Seal. That still gives us 1. I don't think there's not much we can do. So we go Dread Presence. It's going to cost 1 less. It enters the battlefield. We have an extra swamp enter the battlefield. We're going to 2 damage to our opponent. And we're going to gain 2 life. That's going to put us up to 3. So we tap down Coffers, 1, 2. Then we use Deserted Temple to untap Coffers. Use that in last 2. That's going to be 10 mana. We go for Imperial Seal. And we get this popped out. We could, because even if we go Torment of Hellfire, that's going to be Torment for 7, which is not, they definitely have more than 7. Well, they have to get rid of 7 permanents. So we can still at least Torment of Hellfire. Now, if we go for Exsanguinate, that's simply just going to be 7. And that's not going to do much. So I guess we just force a Torment of Hellfire. I mean, that might allow us to kind of survive. Oh, and then, excuse me, Imperial Seal puts it on top, so even then we can't really do much about that. So we still have 9 mana. Yeah, I guess at this point we'll just go ahead and scoop this one up. They're going to be able to swing across. Completely forgot Imperial Seal is going to be able to, it's going to put it on top of their library. So I'm definitely going to be recording a lot more games with Crick. I really enjoy this build because it's nice to build a mono black deck where we get to basically just play 6, 7, 8 drop, 9 drop creatures and not even worry about it. Then we get to the point to where Crick goes back to the command zone, and once that goes back to the command zone, most of the time we've made our land drops, or we have coffers on the battlefield, or we have a lot of artifacts to where we don't even need Crick on the battlefield to go for that extra life or that Phyrexian mana for all of our other spells. So it's a really nice feeling. The only thing that we didn't get to see today that was a little bit disappointing was Helldozer. I normally don't go for land destruction, but Helldozer is in here because that just sounds like a lot of fun to be blowing up lands and paying some life to do that. But that's going to be it for today's video. Unfortunately, our opponent's going to get in on this one. That Engulf the Shore, that extra turn, and Cyclonic Rift was just way too much for Crick to do anything about. But if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed pretending to be the son of Yawgmoth, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.